runs very high. When you see him run, he's going to take a lot of hits. Here's him break into the open. He has excellent vision, as all the other running backs that we've talked about early in this pick. Takes a lot of hits. He's also an excellent blocker for the Buckeyes. He's got good hands here. Ohio State shifts him out of the backfield so you can shift him or motion him and put him in some mismatches with strong safeties and safeties out of the backfield, catch the football. Strength is his biggest asset. You're looking at a guy that's going to gain 4+ yards for you. Good, solid running back that can run the ball 20+ times for you.
He's definitely worthy, Chris. He may not be as good as Deion Sanders, but he's going to be close. And he's certainly for Seattle. They got Willie Williams in free agency. They needed a big-time corner that they can match up against the opposition's top wide receiver and contain that player. You see him here, the right cornerback spot in man coverage. Look at the instincts, how quickly he locates the ball and makes the play. He really did a great job in the Rose Bowl when Keith Poole really shut him down, showed what kind of dynamic athletic ability he has. Then he has his individual workout. He runs a 4.36. It's a 39, 40-inch vertical jump, 19 reps, so you know he's strong. Here he is as a punt returner. Great ability in that area if you want to risk injury and use your #1 corner. Also as a return man. Run support ability's average, decent tackler, but you're paying Sean Springs the big bucks to match up against the Jerry Rices and the big-time wide receivers that can beat you.
Whereas Boston, if you want to look for one of the premier wide receivers, they would not get him later in the first round.
Very physical player, Chris. You're right. Here against Charles Woodson. This was back in 1997. Here again against Charles Woodson. Beats him on the deep route. Watch the concentration here on the football. And you're looking at a big wide receiver, a very physical performer who certainly can shield that cornerback and then make something happen after the catch in the broken field. A little taunting there. Put that to rest in the NFL. Here, downfield blocking against Penn State. Here again, you'll see the physical presence of a big receiver with deep speed and good hands. If there's a question with David Boston, it's route running, precision there. Also in terms of concentration, not hands, but he needs to concentrate on every pass that comes his way. Probably could have used another year at Ohio State to round off his game a bit, but in terms of a physical presence at wide receiver, he really provides that for an Arizona Cardinal team that needs that third wide receiver behind Sanders and certainly behind Rob Moore.
He is, by some they'll call him the best pound-for-pound player in the draft. You agree with that?
I'll tell you, one of the toughest players at the cornerback position, Chris, to come out in a long, long time. The corner blitz, you see him here on 2 plays, just dominate off the edge. 214 career tackles for a cornerback is amazing. Decent ball skills here, making the play in coverage. You'll see another pass breakup here as well. You're looking at a kid 5'8.5" at good recovery speed, not great recovery speed. Adequate leaping ability, 38.5 vertical jump, but he doesn't have those special skills as a jumper or in terms of recovery speed. We'll see if he can compensate for being 5'8.5". That's the question, Joe. In a league dominated by big wideouts, Ken Winfield at 5'8.5" get the job done. And you look at the big cat, you see the size and phenomenal speed and strength. The physical computer numbers of Andy Katzenmoyer are that of a high first-round draft choice. The big cat. Look at the eyes of a middle linebacker. Katzenmoyer, watch this vicious hit against Corby Jones. That's as a sophomore back in 1997. Here, another opportunity to make a big hit, get to the flanks, and he has 4.49 speed. Here he gets cut. Blocker awareness, somewhat questionable for Katzenmoyer. Spent some time on the ground. Here, though, again, the speed to the outside. This kid can run in space and make plays. Again, on the tackle at the sideline. I think you see ability, sideline to sideline type speed.
You look at the 6'1", 248-pound senior. High floor, we talked about that. He's a 3-down linebacker. I said a long time ago he'd be a top 10 pick. Jonathan Scott tried to reach him. No way. Too quick for that. Reacts down the line of scrimmage on option. Makes the tackle. Inside or outside. Here he is double teamed, but his innate feel for the game. Look at the cutback hole. He feels it. He knows he's got to fight through the double team. It looks like a touchdown. No way. Splits the double team.
Here along with Whitner with the big hit. I was impressed with his ability, like you mentioned, to put his hand on the ground. Had a chance to watch him against Penn State against their left tackle, an outstanding junior in Levi Brown. He was able to get some penetration on him and actually cause a quarterback pressure and get a hit on Michael Robinson.
And the Steelers trade up to get him.
My only question here is that they think they had to go up 7 slots to get him. He might have fallen to him. Now, Santonio Holmes, the thing I love about him is his short area quickness and then his ability to make plays after the catch. And that's why, Corey, he fits what Pittsburgh is.
Listen, I'm
the new draft guru.
New York. They needed a center with Kevin Mawai in Tennessee.
Yeah, Kevin Mawai really spoiled New York fans for a lot of years. He was the prototype center, many Pro Bowls. What you're getting with Nick Mangold is a solid technician, understands the game, 300-pounder, can play pass pro, can play the run game. And Corey, I think he's a great fit. I think this is way too high for Ted Ginn, and I love his explosiveness. World-class speed, he gets vertical. You know he's got return
Devin
value.
Hester.
I think he's a very average route runner. Now, Devin Hester's a good
Devin
stop,
Hester caught this.
and that's what it is right there. Look at him on the return. I get all of that. I get you're getting a very unknown quantity right here at the number 9 slot. Now, 80% of their offenses are verticals. Look how fast he gets on top of the corner. That is incredible speed. That's why they're drafting him. However, I don't know what kind of route runner he is. 80% of their offenses are verticals, crosses, and hitches. Anthony Gonzalez runs better routes for this team.
In the league running on the outside.
As an outside linebacker in the 3-4, you talked about a kid whose strength, I think, was something that got everybody's attention. 265 pounds. See a kid here, getting after the quarterback, which he had 14 sacks this year. 37 reps at the combine. Tremendous strength. Talk about a kid who has real good quickness. He can close very effectively around a 4.65 with 265 pounds. You see him here. He beat the offensive tackle out of his stance on numerous occasions the last couple of years for Ohio State. As I said, originally a linebacker. Now, when you talk about, hey, still learning the game instinctively, not necessarily what you want right now. Locating the ball, not his specialty. Okay?
We got NFL bloodlines here late in the draft.
I just left Ohio State. I've studied the Buckeyes for a few days, and they can't stop talking about this kid, Cameron Hayward. He plays all over the place. He's the leader of the Ohio State Buckeyes, at least he has been the last 3 or 4 years. His best work comes when he's rushing over the guard in nickel situations. He is a relentless football player, the son of Ironhead Hayward. We know he's got great bloodlines. How about that for an instinctive play at 288? Mel, what do you think of this guy? I love him.
Well, it's what they are looking for, and that's the thing. They wanted to get younger on the defensive line. You think about the guys they have up front. They added Ziggy Hood a few years ago, needed that a little bit more youth. One thing about Cameron Hayward, solid against the run, your 3-4 end, big kid. One last talk about his father, the late great Ironhead Hayward.
He's all about what today's linebacker is. He's one of the fastest linebackers I've ever seen come out of college football. Watch him blitz off the edge. It's going to be interesting to see how he's used in Pittsburgh. I see him as an inside linebacker. Look at him. Watch the run. Watch him close the gap. Bang. And again, here he is at his pro day at 237. He ran 4.38, who had 10.5 sacks a year ago. So he's the best run game defensive end I saw in college football. Here he is on the pass. Just enough speed to threaten your outside. Look at the inside pole. That inside arm, converting speed to power. Eyes are always up. Again, now watch him in the run game. Nobody's better in college football. Comes inside, beats the right tackle. Watch this play. Comes down, he sees the wham block. He defeats the wham block, and then he wins.
Ezekiel Elliott, running back.
Straight ahead, and he's found a hole. Elliott on the move and to the end zone. Ezekiel Elliott.
2015 Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year.
Touchdown, Ezekiel Elliott of Ohio State.
He fell to 11, 6 feet, 193. 1-year starter, had some hamstring issues both in 14 and 15. He's genetically gifted, comes out of that Glenville High School program, coached by Ted Ginn Sr. His upside is amazing. His ball skills are a true reality. His press coverage, he's very calm. Look at him undercut the route. Rarely gets called for pass interference, even though he's a 1-year guy. Now, he gets a little deep here, but look how aggressive he is in the tackle. He's physical, he's tough, he's got all kinds of upside. 1-year starter, 6'1", 206 pounds, great athlete. An elite center fielder. In that 1 year, he had 7 picks. Again, range and ball skills. Hip and hernia surgery after the year. So he hasn't worked out for anybody. Look at him drive to deep outside. You talk about range. The first guy I thought of when I watched his tape was Earl Thomas. Why? Because the ability to go sideline to sideline and make plays like that.
They need people who can cover in the back end, and they still do need pass rush. But it makes sense. This is someone that's been connected to the Cleveland Browns for weeks now as someone they had targeted. And I'll tell you this about Denzel Ward. He's one of the better, if not the best, press corner in this draft this year. Tremendous patience at the line of scrimmage, tremendous ball locator skills, tremendous mirror ability, tremendous leaping ability. I mean, he can pretty much do it all. And even at his size, he is a guy who will force the run, who will tackle, and will play with the kind of ferocity that you don't see many corners play with. And you see it right there. He will lay the hit on you. And this is a good player for them. It's a need pick as well as a best player available pick.
The Browns and the Bengals have tapped into home state talent from Ohio State University, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm back. I can talk again. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to say a lot here. Look, Billy Price is a guy who can play center and guard. And there's been a mass exodus in Cincinnati in recent years of offensive linemen. Look, they lose Andrew Whitworth, Kevin Zeitler, and, consequently, what were they last year? They're 31st in the league in rushing offense. So, look, this is a need pick. It may be a little bit of a reach as far as Billy Price going here, but I'll tell you what, right now, Cincinnati needs to rebuild their football team from front to back on the offensive line because there's nothing that they can do in their division unless they can really fortify this offensive line. Billy Price.
Rusher. What does that mean? He understands angles. He understands leverage. He can bend and flip his hips. We all saw Joey Bosa. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Bosa has a little bit more juice and has a little bit more giddy up in his step than his brother Joey. You're going to see a guy that can come off the corner, use his hands exceptionally well, get to the quarterback, and he can finish. And even in sub package, you can reduce down, and he also plays with power and the ability to shed and make tackles. You put him at defensive end, and barring an injury, he'll get you 7 to 12 sacks for the next 7 to 10 years. That's the type of player you're getting. You don't have to teach him how to rush. He already knows how to rush. With speed, with power, Mel, he can do it with the best of them.
Yeah, and I think the key for the 49ers is pass rush. They haven't had it. DeForest Buckner stepped up with 12 sacks this year. They traded him for Dee Ford. Now all of a sudden you add Nick Bosa. You went for a team, couldn't get after the quarterback a few years ago. Then 8
picks last year.
Yeah, look, and this is a guy who tore it up against ranked opponents as well. He can do it all. Look, he has movement in the pocket. He has accuracy, short, intermediate, and deep. He knows when to put gas on it. He knows when to take some of it off and throw the football with touch. And look, you can't penalize him for going against, or rather having weapons at his disposal like he had this past year. You can't penalize him for having an offensive coordinator like Ryan Day, who's now the head coach. You can't penalize him for those kinds of things because he took advantage of everything that was given to him, everything that he earned. He's just a guy who I think right now is going into a situation as far as the quarterback room is concerned that is perfect for him. He has Case Keenum there. Alex Smith will be around. He has two people who he can learn from, who they can be patient with him. They need to get him some weapons, make sure the running game is straight. This offensive line of Washington, when it is healthy, is one of the best in the NFL. Look, as far as Washington is concerned, Dan Snyder, the owner, Jay Gruden, the head coach, I think they made a slam dunk pick.
Well, you can see about some legit track speed. He has an outstanding character, and he's the best kick coverage player in the entire draft, and I think he's familiar with the quarterback there.
Yeah, I would say so. Obviously, playing with Dwayne Haskins, his speed obviously jumps off the tape, but it's his leadership, really, that I think stood out at Ohio State. When they were trying to develop young Dwayne Haskins, they needed someone to step up. This is early in the season. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Nittany Lions hit the ground. Guess who was blocking them? That's Terry McLaurin right there, doing everything he can to get KJ Hill into the end zone. He sold out for the Buckeyes. His leadership was paramount in their success last year.
Simply, Frey, they're getting the best player in this entire draft. He can affect the game not only on first and second down, setting the edge, playing the run, but he can also be a dominant pass rusher on third down. You want to overset him as an offensive tackle? I have the agility to come inside, and he learned that at Ohio State from one of the best defensive line coaches in America, Larry Johnson. Got to give him a lot of love for what he's done the last few years with the Bosa brothers and now Chase Young. But you're getting a guy who can be a Hall of Fame type player. Bill Polian once said, when you draft guys in the top 10, they have to be worthy of wearing a gold jacket. And this young man, Chase Young, he definitely is a versatile defensive end that can play the left side or the right side. And if you're the Redskins, Montez Sweat on the right side, now Chase Young on the left side, you have a very, very good pair of bookends.
No question, Bogan. I think you look at that division with Dak Prescott, with Carson Wentz, and an emerging Daniel Jones. Now you get the outside pass rush. Hopefully Sweat comes on. You know Chase Young's going to be a factor. He is the master of the strip sack, those forced fumbles. He knows
Ron Chalk, what do you like most about what you see in Okudah's game?
Well, Trey, I see the size and the length in somebody that is outstanding in press coverage. He wants to play physical at the line of scrimmage. We saw him do it against some of the best wide receivers in this year's draft class. He's got the fluidity to be able to open up. He can drive on the football. He can find and play the football. So I thought he was the most complete cornerback in this year's draft class, and I honestly did not think it was very close. The Detroit Lions have to get better against the pass, and this was the best option for them to get that done.
Mel, what do you like about him?
Well, you look at him and you got a complete corner, a guy that will tackle. That's so important in this league now with the short passes, come up and make the tackle on those elusive receivers. And in the run game, Jeff Okudah is a very confident corner, doesn't get called for penalties. He understands how to break up a pass and not draw the flag.
Mel Kiper, let's go.
In the Windy City, you need the big arm, and Justin Fields has the big arm. He's got tremendous ability with his legs to beat you. Think of that #1 player, along with Trevor Lawrence, 1-1A coming out of high school. Goes to Georgia, then he leaves. They got Jake Fromm. You go over to Ohio State, got all that pressure, and you respond to that. 2019, I think people forgot about 2019, how great he was. And then after everybody questioned him, what he did here against Ohio State, against Clemson, with Ohio State, with those Buckeyes, underdog, handling that Clemson Tiger defense effectively. In that game, you think about throwing for 385 yards, 6 touchdowns, and the 1 interception. First quarterback in Big Ten history, though, 40 touchdowns, rushed for 10 in a season, did that in 2019. Yeah, he had to speed things up a bit, but you're talking about a kid who did it in 2019 at an elite level, and this year, in a COVID year with all the interruptions, didn't have Chris Olave against Northwestern, yet still won that game, still did beat Indiana, so he had 2 subpar games in 2 years at Ohio State. Is that enough to push him down this far? I didn't think so. The Bears are taking a quarterback similar to the ones they passed on not that long ago in Mahomes and Watson.
The OH is now a JETS. He'll learn. He'll learn.
Send the fireman over to
the fireman will get a hold of him, no doubt.
This dude is a weapon. When you get the ball in his hands, jet sweeps, he can make a house call on it. He understands route running, how to attack leverage. There's a lot of polish there. He turns corners inside out routinely. He can win with his quickness right off the line. Watch this release and the separation he creates down in the red zone for a nice, easy touchdown for C.J. Stroud. And then go up and get it. This is as a young player against Clemson in the playoff. That's the catch radius that he has there. Joel, with Garrett Wilson, that first minicamp going up against Sauce Gardner, I'd pay good money to see that one, Joel.
I would love to see it just because of that release at the line of scrimmage. Wilson is so slippery. Sauce is so good at the line of scrimmage. But here's Wilson using that 4.3 speed down the field. He's so polished in his route running. But how about the competitiveness in clutch situations? Short side of the field, snowing, it's cold. C.J. Stroud with a great ball. He goes up and gets it in a huge win in a 50-50 situation. Melissa, this guy is a player. And
for the New Orleans Saints and their offense going forward, silky smooth. Everything he does is easy. He's got outstanding route tempo. The only knock on him, just want to see him get a little bit stronger, a little more physical, especially with the ball in his hands after the catch. But here he is working vertical. He's got that second gear. Once the ball goes up in the air, he can really go get it. The route running polish, you can make a case as good as anybody in this draft class. Here he is working against Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners in the NFL, and getting a nice move on him on a comeback to finish. Here he is down in the red zone. Again, watch the head, just the subtleties of the route running. That's where you see the polish with Chris Olave, and then go down the field, go up and get the ball. He did this throughout his career, whether he was wearing 17 or whether he was wearing 2. Made a bunch of big plays. I remember him getting on the field against Michigan as a freshman. I think Joel Klatt might have been there, him blocking a punt and just making plays. So there's the Buckeyes and the wide receivers, both of them off the board already, Rich.